Peace, peace, peace. Welcome to the Scrap and Roll MMA podcast. I'm your host, Sky. We got your host, Jace, your host, CJ, and our guest, T-Ball Paul. If you're anywhere on TikTok in the MMA community, I'm almost 100% sure that you've seen his videos. He is an absolute legend on TikTok, and he's here to kick it with us on the Sunday Hangover and just talk some shit about the fights that we just seen last night. Let's go ahead and get into it. Just to start off, how would you guys rate the card? Before we start breaking it down and seeing what's going on, how would y'all rate the card 1 through 10?
Before we start off, let me pop off and call this episode of Sunday Hangover Reverse Oreo.
Oh, all right. I'm just milking y'all's coffee.
Yes. Since we got a guest in the house, T-Ball Paul, you go first, my guy. Let's go. What you graded?
Okay. Yeah, sure. So that night, I probably had it around an 8 because I hadn't let it sink in yet. But when I woke up today and I saw the impact that Izzy's knockout had on social media, some of my friends that weren't even into MMA were texting me about it saying, oh, did you see the knockout? That's when it elevated to like a 9.5 because I think that this card was not only significant to the MMA fans, but to the casual audience as well. So I give it a 9.5 when it's all said and done.
Ooh, coming in hot.
Nice.
What you think, Jace?
For me, I'm gonna put it at a solid 8. The highs were high. There weren't really like a bunch of lows, and that's great. But there also was some like times where I found myself like drifting off. I was dually running the Shakar Stevenson boxing match, and I definitely felt my eyes drifted. Oh, this motherfucker styled on this nigga, smiling the whole time. Bing, bing, bing. Okay. Bing, bing, bing. But definitely not disappointed. Definitely enjoyed it. Great card.
Nice.
Yeah. I'm with you, Jace, but I think I'm gonna raise it a little bit higher. I'm gonna go about a strong 8.5. And you can hear my motherfucking voice now. We was turned up in this house. It had the main card was fire. Prelims had a little bit of fire. So I loved it.
Yeah, I will say I can't give it a score today just because I was at, our other host, Damien, him and his wife, India, got married. So I was at their wedding. And so I really only got to watch the main card. But as far as like the prelims, I didn't really get to see any prelims. So I already know I got to go back and watch Chris Curtis. But based off the main card, yeah, it's sitting at an 8.5 for me because it was fire. But like T-Ball Paul said, like when I woke up this morning and just seeing how every single media outlet was like stuff that you would never see. Like I follow the Shade Room, right? Like he was in the Shade Room. He was everywhere. They was posting Izzy. Like, and there were so many stars that were coming out, giving Izzy his love prior to the fight. Like, y'all know the kid from Power. Like, even he was like going for Izzy. Like I just felt like, wow, like there was a lot more eyes on it, a lot more casuals than what I thought would happen, which kind of gives weight to like a couple weeks ago. Like I posted a video, or earlier this week, I posted a video about Izzy. What'd you say, Jace?
Oh, I was saying CJ's a casual. Keep going.
Oh,
First of all, if you call me a casual, put King in front of that shit.
Casual King. Listen, man. Whatever you do at Thursday night bingo and the brass rail, that's what you do. Got you.
Yeah. But I posted a video about, Izzy being the biggest draw statistically as far as like in crowd numbers, right? So he has the Australia crowd, but the largest crowd in the US was the last November card at Madison Square Garden. Well, they just beat that and they beat the gate on that. You know what I mean? So whether you like Izzy or not, like he appeals to the casual. Like something's right. Like the fact that he headlined more than 40% of the pay-per-views last year, like he's doing something right. Like there's something there. So I thought it was amazing. But yeah, let's take a look at the card in full. And you guys can just tell me like what were the fights that like really stuck out to you?
So I'm looking at these are the early prelims.
Yeah, so the early prelims.
We can keep moving.
Y'all said, hey, y'all
I agree with Jace. These early prelims, I was drifting off. although Steve Garcia did have he got rocked against Shailin Nurdenbecki, who's like a featherweight with -5% body fat. Like he's like one of the top 6 physiques in the U. He was ridiculous in there. But he ended up getting clocked by Steve Garcia, and that one was all right, but nothing jumped out in the early prelims for me.
Yeah. How was the Cynthia fight?
Listen, scrap. I'm gonna let CJ take that because he loves to talk that Viva la Mexico shit.
There's no lie.
There's no lie. It was a good fight. It was a back and forth fight. They basically kind of mirrored each other in that fight. I think Lupi hit her with bigger shots, so it could have went either way. But I'm happy that Lupi won that fight. But Viva Mexico, perros.
So you thought that she won the fight because that was the first. That was the first of a couple of iffy judging to me. Because I thought the Karate Hottie got robbed.
I think so too.
I don't want to say robbed. We use that word too much.
Yes,
I thought she won the fight. Yes.
Yeah.
The girl Pinheiro did have the bigger shots, but just by pure value and just putting on her, I thought Michelle did more than enough to get it done.
I'm right there with you. What you think, Paul? You seen that one?
I was just arriving to my watch party when Michelle Watterson and Pinheiro were fighting, so I didn't. I was just kind of getting set up. I missed the nuts and bolts of that one.
Yeah.
First time you've ever missed the nuts.
How'd y'all feel about Joe Pyfer and Gerald GM3?
Called it.
Ooh.
Yeah.
I mentioned Joe in my recap video today, and I think he's got a lot of potential. He's a huge 185er. Like the dude looks like he could fight at 205. And Gerald Mearshart, say what you want about him, but he's the gatekeeper to the top 20 at middleweight. So
yeah.
Talk about. I'm not disputing that claim. I'm just saying, I don't know if I want that associated with me. I'm the gatekeeper to the top 20. We're not talking about a RDA who's considered like a annual gatekeeper to the top 20.
Yeah.
Well, I can't give him the distinction of gatekeeper to the top 15 because I feel like there's like Brendan Allen and Andre Muniz. Those are like the top 15 gatekeepers because they're already in the top 15, right? But breaking into the top 20, that gives you an opportunity to fight the top 15. You got to get through a Gerald Mearshart.
Yeah.
And Joe Pyfer did that in spades last night.
Yeah, and I agree with Paul said. He was in there, big body. He looked huge. He looked athletic, and he went there and he took that shit. He made GM3 look. He made him look bad. So shout out to him. He's a young gun, so they better look out for him.
Yeah.
And then Chris Curtis versus Kelvin Gastelum. I heard that was a banger. I can't wait to go back and watch that.
Immediately, it's one of those fights, like, right after you see it, you want to start saying, fight of the year, fight of the night. But, I don't like to make those claims until the fight has sat with me for a couple months. But with that being said, Kelvin Gastelum low-key has 2 unbelievable bangers under his belt. The fight with Israel Adesanya at 236, and then, this fight tonight with Chris Curtis is another amazing one to add to the resume. So, he's been on a skid and he's kind of underachieved in his career, but the one thing you can't take away from Kelvin Gastelum is that he's had some legendary, iconic fights in his 10-year career.
Yeah.
Also has some legendary, iconic injuries. Random injuries. Injuries.
Iconic weight misses, too. He missed by 10 pounds against Tyron Woodley back in the day.
When he was trying to make 170.
Yeah. But what did you guys think of the Chris Curtis Gastelum fight? I was just kind of screaming at the TV the whole time. I really have no technical breakdown of it. I was just entertained.
Yeah, I don't think it was a very technical fight. It was kind of like an elevated bar fight, after the first round, right? Where people just throwing 8,000% on every punch, wide looping punches, and you're just like, fucking connect, please, fucking connect. I loved it.
I don't
Kelvin
know.
looks like a guy I'd see at the bar for sure.
I think I have to disagree a little bit with you on that one, though, Jace.
Go
Because
on.
Kelvin's footwork was looking nice in there. First of all, us three had Curtis, right? We picked him, and you
Yeah.
know who I be picking. But I'm gonna say I slightly was going for Kelvin more because they be some haters out there that be doing MMA science, and I'm happy that he fucked up everybody's parlay. I'm gonna just say that right there. Yes, I be hating, but Chris Chris Curtis looked amazing in his boxing. Gaston looked good. Gaston looked great in his boxing as well, and Curtis had the shoulder rolls. I wish they just did a little bit more MMA stuff in there and just instead of just keeping it at a boxing match. But it was a fun fight. It was a very fun fight.
Did y'all agree with the decision?
I did. Me personally, I did.
Ooh, it was too close. I would have been happy with either result, Jace. Like it was just one of those that like I think both fighters' stock rose after this. Like you can't really claim a loser in this one because both of them just entertained the fans so well.
And I think that is something that we need more in MMA in regards to like it's okay to have a draw, you know. And as I was there at the bar last night, you know, I was telling people like I'm okay with 9-9 rounds. Like I'm okay
Yes.
with it. You know, sometimes no one really wins. Like I think you have to win a round. You know what I mean? Like I want to see people go and win rounds, but sometimes like, you know what? Like I don't know who won that round. And if I'm a judge, I'm okay. I would be okay with writing 9-9 because I'm just like, no one really did anything to kind of be like, this is my definitive round.
I agree with you because one of the judges gave it 30-27 for Gaston him, and that's like I don't think he won all three of the rounds like that. So I agree with you on that one as well, Jace. I totally agree with that.
Dope. One thing now, I did watch 100% the main card. Let's get into it. Raul Rosas Jr. versus Christian Rodriguez. What I will say is, look at him.
Keep
Wait,
going.
wait. You
Hey,
get
but
one
Sky,
thing.
hey, but
Wait,
Sky, we got some smoke for that ass coming
right,
though.
right,
Pause,
right.
pause, pause,
Don't
pause, pause,
don't
pause.
play. You know what I'm saying? But like statistically, right? What is it like? Almost 70% of the time, the fighter who misses weight, which Christian Rodriguez did, wins the fight. So when that happened, I remember Jason and I was on a call earlier in the day, and I was like, man, statistically, the fighter that misses weight wins the fight. You know, I was hoping that it wouldn't happen, but it did, and boy, did we see some holes in Raul Rosas' game.
Like what, Scott?
Just like striking wise, I don't think he's there. I don't think he's there with the striking. You know, like the first round, I gave it to him. I thought he looked good. Like I thought he
Of
looked all
course.
right. You know what I mean? Then the second round, like the desperate shots and just getting pieced up and like I don't know. Look, there's like an image that keeps playing in my head of like him like face down, just getting bop, just getting bopped in the face. Yeah, I mean, I thought Christian did a good job. I mean, I thought he could have potentially even gotten him out of there. Like, had he just like had enough like energy and stuff to keep pushing forward. But how did you guys feel about it?
Go ahead, Paul.
I mean, after watching that fight, this may be a hot take, but he's too young for the UFC. I'm under the train of thought that this one manager said it perfectly. He said basically when one of his clients signs with the UFC, he needs to feel confident that they could face a top 5 guy or win the title because once you're in the UFC, you're immediately thrown to the wolves. There's very few give me fights, and you know after this, like it's sink or swim. The UFC is going to have a really hard time matching up Raul with fighters that are on his level, fighters that are on his maturity, just because he's so young. It's like, are there 6 Jay Perrins that he could rattle off 6 wins against and develop in the UFC? I don't know.
In the
And
bantamweight division?
Christian Rodriguez, yeah,
Yeah.
in the Shark Tank that is the bantamweight division, and I mean Christian Rodriguez is top 30, top 40 bantamweight, and the fight wasn't. He didn't take a lot of damage, so I'm happy about that. But the fight was not close in the last 2 rounds.
No.
I have to disagree with that comment of thinking that someone has to be able to beat top five, because there's only I think an X amount of people who are going to beat top five. There are some people, you're like, you are never going to be
Never gonna
champ.
get there.
You know what I mean? And that's fine, because you still can make a living. You always need the mid card. You always need a preliminary. You know what I mean? But it's like, even top five of the bantamweight, like, not too many people outside of the top five are beating the people in top five, or the champ of that matter. Well, the champ more so, because
But
Aljo's fucking garbage.
stop. We're not gonna do that. We're not gonna do that. One thing that I really did like that Paul said was that, like, yeah, like, there is no going back. Like, once you're in here, you're in here. You're in the fucking Shark Tank. You know what I mean? And, like, I'm looking at some of these rankings, like, just looking at, like, other fighters who are within the UFC, and, like, do I see Rosas beating Trevin Jones? After that performance, I'm like, I don't know. I can't be confident saying that. Like,
Trevin is a man.
Trevin
Yeah.
Jones, that's the one that just fought Garbrandt, right?
Yeah.
And he
I
almost
think
got
I think he could beat him.
Okay, I mean,
yeah. I about that.
I laughed at you in your face.
Nah, what did Jones show you guys that he's, I think he has a well, first of all, anybody can get beat. First of all, like, Rosas is super young. So I'm not gonna like take it easy on him just because he's young. But he showed good things in there. He went in there, he just has to manage his energy a lot better. Work on the striking a little bit, because that was he's still 18. So he hasn't lifed enough. So when the bullets start flying at him, he's just like, oh shit, I don't want to get in there with that kind of shit. So I'm gonna just do what I'm good at and keep rolling with that. So he just needs more time in there. Maybe not give him a fight so soon on a huge stage. That was on the main card of the event. The arena was full at that time. So let's slow track him a little bit more now. He'll be okay.
I think that goes right back to what Paul was saying, which is, you're here now. You're here now. Like, who are we gonna slow and put you up against? Are there 10 other J parents we can put you up against? The UFC is not the place to be slow rolled. You know what I mean? Like, there's a lot. Like, if you want to be slow rolled, you stay on the regional scene. You get like 10 more fights in over there. I think after. What are you saying, Jace?
No, keep on speaking. I want you to. I want to hear what you got to say. I just disagree with it.
So you think that there's a path for him to get some fights that are favorable?
Because, I mean, here's the thing, right? Let's even say something like, so he is good at one thing, right? Let's, for example, take an Alex Pereira, who was now the former, will get to a UFC champ, right? How's his jiu-jitsu game? How's his wrestling game, right? He is just outstanding at putting motherfuckers to sleep. Those other parts about it will come to his game. You know what I mean? So was he slow track? Absolutely not. He was thrown into the wolves, you know what I mean? And people were just not able to take him down. So the notion that, you know what I mean, he has to be this complete mixed martial artist to compete in the UFC, I don't think that's right. You know what I mean? I just think he's going to grow his game. You can grow your game in the UFC. And we've seen it on numerous other fighters who came in very one-dimensional, but then had transformed their game. Even the great GSP. Most people don't know this because people think about GSP being like the wet blanket. Like, that dude is a karate killer. You know what I mean? That's how he came into the UFC. Karate. And then he ran into a fucking Mack truck from Iowa called Matt Hughes, who literally just did downward dog on him for 5 rounds.
But I think what I'm like, how I feel about it is that, like, sure, you'll have like favorable matchups that you can put him up against, but at the end of the day, I think that he does need to grow somewhere else. And the first person I think about is Chase Hooper. If Chase were able to have went somewhere else and been able to fight and like grow like more on the regional scene or in other, like, maybe LFA or somewhere else, maybe he would have progressed a little bit more. I think the UFC was too much for him. Like, Chase, great grappler. Chase was good. And then on the feet, we seen what happened to him. Steve Garcia beat the living crap out of him.
Yeah.
Like, I don't want that to happen to Rosas because he's only 18.
Yeah.
Cool. Someone loses one fight, get him out of there.
No, that's not what
That's
we're saying.
that's
But
Well,
what I'm
no,
saying
wait.
too. But it's like
Pause for a second, because just like before on our prediction show, you're talking about how hyped you were for him and how great he was. You talked
absolutely.
about it for the contender show, how great he was. You talked about it his first
Yep.
fight, how great he was. And now all of a
Uh-huh.
sudden he lost one. And yeah, he did look bad. Let's speak on that. But now, like, nah, nigga, nah, nigga, nah.
Because for me, it's one thing to look bad. It's one thing to lose, and it's another thing for us to see very big holes. Like even when we first started seeing really big holes in Chase Hooper's game, it was like, oh, this isn't good. And then he got pieced up by Alex Caceres, and then he got pieced up by Steve Garcia, and it was just like, oh, wait a minute, like this is a huge part of your game. Now, I never said that Raul Rosas was great. I was rooting for him, and I wanted him to do well. I still want him to do well, but if they do a development deal with him and allow him to still be with the UFC, but allow him to get some more fights under his belt, I think that would be favorable.
One matchup.
Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
No, please. That was it.
I was saying, here's the thing I'll say about Raul Rosas Jr. that gives me pause about thinking he's going to do great things. The hype around Alex Pereira was that he was the best kickboxer in the world coming into the UFC. The hype around Bo Nickel is that he was the best collegiate wrestler in the world going into UFC. The hype around Raul Rosas was that he was young. Didn't have anything to do with his skills, didn't have anything to do with, his accolades before. The hype was just about, look at this 17-year-old kid, we've never seen this before, and it may create a bunch of problems for him as he progresses in the UFC. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah.
Just let me ask you all this one question. I'm done with it. Did you feel whatever you're feeling right now after the first round?
no. He
Okay.
did amazing. He did amazing in the first round.
Okay. That's it. That's all I
it's a
asked.
like you say, Jason. We always say it's a 3-round fight. He just got to
Uh,
learn how to conserve his energy, and he probably was just on a high. That's one of the hugest fights of the year going on. He has a lot of work to do. I'm not giving him no passes or no excuses. He has a lot of work that he needs to do. But let's not just throw away that first round though. Bro dominated the first round. Totally.
Yeah.
He could have got him out of there. He didn't. We can't play would have, could have, should have. He didn't. But we seen things that he's very good at. So he just needs time. Let's give him some time. Let him work. I'm saying, he's not going to be a top 10 next year, this year. He just needs a little bit more time to work.
He was a CJ away from getting him out.
Why are you holding up your thing size up?
Oh no, CJ away. CJ.
It's Easter.
Let me hear that.
Easter.
It's Easter, my guy.
Come on.
Now, so let's get into Kevin Holland versus Santiago Ponzinibbio. If I recall, CJ, your boy Jace said Ponzinibbio.
He
Right?
don't never want to bet on black. He don't never want to bet on black. Or the Mexican flag. He gonna learn. He gonna learn.
How'd y'all feel about the fight?
He texted us yesterday and was like, "Oh no, that fight sucked." I think he said it sucked because that's who we picked.
Anything you want to say?
Paul?
We'll let him simmer on that.
Mm-hmm.
Like Jay said earlier, there was high highs of this card and kind of low lows. I personally felt like the first 13 minutes of the Holland versus Ponzinibbio fight was a little bit of a lull for me. I found myself kind of like chatting and conversing and losing interest in the fight. And then, towards the end, he knocked him out. Kevin Holland, I think he has a lot of potential and he's really gifted in a lot of areas. And ever since he had that ridiculous knockout against Jacare where he knocked him out from the back, I'm just expecting to see something like that every time now. Yeah. And I haven't really seen him look that good since then. So that's kind of how I feel about Kevin Holland. He's just slightly underachieved for what I know he could be.
Yeah. And I think one thing that I've kept my eye on since he moved back down to 170 is I don't think when he was up at 185, the guys were pretty much the same length and height as him. Now that he's down at 170, he's typically the bigger, taller guy. We seen him up against Ponzinibbio and was like, holy hell. And I don't think that he's learned to manage distance the way that he should be able to. I think once he really starts to get comfortable with being the longer, rangy guy and learning how to keep people on the outside and pick them apart and move around a lot more, I think he'll have more success at 170. He's still fighting. He's still fighting like these guys are the same size as him. Like he's letting them get. I can't let you get close. Like he's letting them get way too close than they should be.
Yeah.
Shout out to Chael Sonnen.
Shout out.
That's a great point, Sky.
Yeah.
What do you think about the fight, Jace?
So I'll keep it 1,000. Shout out to Kevin Holland. He got it done. I mean, the first 2 rounds were really, I mean, it really was a boring fight. I did, though, think that Kevin, yeah. I mean, like, he was hitting him, but he wasn't really styling on him. And yes, like, then he flatlined him, had the boy, you know, pumping the canvas. Face down, ass up. You know what I'm saying? Ain't no fun. Shout out to Doggy Style. You know, but overall, like, I will say the biggest thing I thought that Kevin Holland did on this fight wasn't even the finish. I thought he used his range very well, which, you know, in essence made it a boring fight because he would never let Ponzinibbio get that close.
I thought I enjoyed the fight. I really enjoyed the fight. The thing I enjoyed too is that he seemed like he was a lot more focused in there. I didn't see him talk too much. He went to after the end of the round, he was over there talking and shit. But during the fight, what happened?
Listen, I was saying this to the people in the bar last night when he had jumped over and like was trying to talk. Then I was just waiting for a Secret Service agent to lay his ass out. I was like, oh my God. And then like, what would happen if Secret Service guy would have just started getting on Kevin? I mean, a professional fighter will destroy Secret Service, would destroy him. You know, because we've seen it when you think about what's your boy's name, Tim Kennedy. You know, who was fucking Green Beret, whatever. And you know, he was good. Yeah. He was good, never great. And if y'all, quick side note, if y'all ever want to hear a funny story, the UFC used to do the events over in the Middle East
for the military.
Yes, look up them talking about it when a guy in the military punched Carlos Condit in sparring.
Okay.
Wow.
Fucking great story. Hilarious. Okay. He made a mistake.
He's one of we don't have to, you can cut this shit, but Carlos Condit is one of those fighters that are so underappreciated, bro. He was a dog for real.
Fighter's fighter.
Oh God. Yeah. But back to Kevin. I was excited for him to get that win, and he's one of those fighters, he can finish in weird angles. You know, like how he beat Jacare that way. How did he hit him with a weird ass back fist? So, you know, he has skills. Once he streamlines and focus, he'll be okay. Will he ever be a champ? Probably not. And he said that he don't care. He just wants a good fights, get the money, and then go. Exciting fighter. That's what he wants to be.
The new black cowboy.
Good. Perfect. That's perfect.
Yeah, he's like
that. Yeah. You know, I love Kevin Holland. I was happy to see him finally get it done. But what I did not love was seeing my boy Blue, Adrian Yanez, go out the way that he did. It hurt me. It hurt. I mean, I was happy for Rob because Rob really needed that. But not Yanez. Not Yanez. This fight started off a banger. They were exchanging. They were hurting each other. There was a moment where I thought Yanez was going to get Rob Font out of there. And Rob was like, nah, not today. Not today. And sent my boy to sleep.
Oh. Narnia.
Oh, we all went for Yanez, right? We all
had him, yeah.
Yeah. How'd you feel about it, Paul?
Yeah, I'm trying to like, this fight reminded me of another fight. Like, it's the classic story of like hype. He's in the top 15 and then he gets the opponent in the top 5 and just it all comes crashing down. Like, it kind of gave me Gone versus Jones vibes, or even like Alexander Hernandez versus Cowboy back in the day, where it's just you think this is the guy and then he gets that big shot and just you almost have forgot. You realize that
Rob Font.
There's levels to this, and
yes,
Rob Font, he's number 6 for a reason.
Yeah,
and I should have seen the signs because everyone was really high on Yanez, but if you look at Rob Font's resume, it's Jose Aldo, Marlon Chito Vera, Cody Garbrandt, Marlon Moraes, Rafael Asuncao. Like, he's fought
You-
nothing.
You
But
can't say Marlon Moraes anymore. That's not a plus.
It's not. At that time, it was.
but
My bad.
basically, the dude hasn't had a sub top 10 opponent for 5 years.
Yeah.
You know, so it's like that resume really, really showed in this fight. And even beyond that, Rob Font just had a great night. He was on point. He looked good. Like, there's nothing you could say to dispute that.
Facts. As it was going on, I was literally yelling like, Adrian, shoot. Like when he started really getting hurt, I'm like, shoot.
Yes.
Shoot.
Yeah.
Like, hey, this is MMA. Like, you got to do something. You got to
Yes.
switch something up. And they just stayed in the pocket, just blow. Somebody was going to go to sleep. It didn't matter. It was either going to be Yanez or Rob. It's unfortunate that it, had to be my boy. But, I mean, he'll be back. One thing I did want to quickly backtrack to, because I didn't realize that, like, this is an actual stat. And I had to go to another website just to verify. But your boy Raul Rosas Jr. landed 2 strikes in 15 minutes of fighting.
I think he has 5 total strikes in all of his fights.
In 15 minutes, he landed 2 strikes. I'm sorry, that's insane. He threw 19 strikes only. Okay, I know that had nothing to do with what we were looking at, but like
You said he landed 2
that's
strikes in 15 minutes?
yes.
Are you talking about CJ Stroke game or
All
Paul
right.
Rosenstrike?
See, you can't do that because then when I start firing back, you be like, oh, cut the tape. So when the shots come back, bro, don't do that. You feel
Come
me?
back. Bring
So
it.
then you be like, oh no, cut the tape, Sky. You gotta tape that out. You know what I mean? Come on, because I shoot everywhere.
CJ has
Yeah.
no he didn't have
Sky edited. Hey, I'm gonna let y'all know out here. On this post, he was like, edit the post, Sky. Shoot or shoot, and we're gonna get to that. But back to Rob. He was out there looking huge. He looked huge.
Pause.
Yeah.
Pause. Fast forward. And that's the thing. Rob was fighting Yanez's ego, and Yanez fell for it. And like I text y'all in the chat, it's MMA. They went in there in this straight box, and he was bigger, stronger, faster. He got him out of there.
Let me ask y'all this real fast and I'm done with it. If they run it back, do you think it'd be the same result?
The way that looked, I think so.
For me, it's hard to say. It's hard to say because Yanez was piecing him up in the beginning. Yanez looked good in the beginning. Like, he busted his eye up. Like, so it's hard to say. Like, now that you've been hit by somebody, maybe you go in there with a different game plan rather than, turn it into a real mixed martial arts fight rather than,
a boxing match.
Yeah, a boxing match. So it's hard to say, but I mean, it could be. It could just be that Rob is too much for him right now. I mean, only time will tell.
I mean, I'm under the attitude that like every single fight is different because
that too.
If you would have asked me that Bisping was going to come back and knock Rockhold out after what Rockhold did to him in the first fight, I'd be like, you're out of your mind.
Yeah.
But what sticks with me about this fight is that this isn't really like talked about too much in MMA, but like that knockout was bad that Yanez suffered.
Yeah.
And we
hold on. Izzy Adesanya enters the chat.
Yeah.
We'll get to that. Hey, I'm not spoiling it yet. We still got a couple more fights to go through, right? But I mean, when I saw that, I'm thinking, how is Yanez career-wise going to recover from that? Because that was one of the more vicious knockouts I've seen in the past year or so. That's just my take on it.
Yeah. And it's true. He is young, and so you never know. Like, sometimes you have those scraps, and it's like, in hindsight is when we look back and we're like, oh, man, that was the fight that kind of, like, derailed him. Like if we look at Jorge Masvidal, who we're about to get to, versus Darren Till, that was the fight for Darren. Like, but we didn't know until now that, like, after that, Darren was who? Darren fell.
No. Darren's soft at the scale on weigh-ins. That's who he was after that.
They said scouse, and just so we all know, Darren Till is a fucking scouser. He's a scouser through and through, eh?
Scousers get knocked out.
Yeah, so they do get knocked out.
Next, yeah, so what could be next for Rob Font? He called out Davison Figueiredo. I would like to see that.
That's
That's a
fun.
fun
That's fun.
matchup.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like that.
Yeah.
Or him versus Jan would even be good based on where they're ranked. If he wants to get back into title contention, he beats Jan and he could be vying for a title shot next year.
Does anyone think?
What's Yanez rank right now? 12? Was he 12?
Let me pull it up.
I think he was 13, CJ.
13?
I think. But I could be wrong.
Yeah.
So the rankings haven't been updated yet. He was 12.
12.
Okay, you got it.
Yeah.
You're right.
Yeah,
Rainman.
so
Yeah, his road just got a little bit more rocky.
Yeah, Peter Yan sitting at 4. I think, it gets to a point to where, like, if Peter Yan can't beat Rob Font, hey, that knee.
He's derailed.
That knee that he landed was his career killer. He killed his own career. Like, I'm going to tell you right now, if he can't beat Rob Font, that knee was his own nail in the coffin.
That's
Aljo's head was so hard that it screwed up Jan's knee so bad he was never the same afterwards.
Look at Jay stressed down here, like stressing like that. We know.
I can't wait for the King of Cringe to get this motherfucker out of here. I cannot fucking
We're not even about to do that. We about to focus on 287 because
let's go. So let's talk about it.
Jorge Masvidal. Yeah, because I'm getting hyped up. I'm getting ready to go crazy over about Izzy. But let's get to Gilbert Burns and Jorge Masvidal, who. Did he retire? Didn't retire? It was kind of like up in the air.
So I'll start off with this. I won't talk about his post-fight. I will talk about one. If you listen to my bet picks, this was the lock of the century, and I delivered. Just saying. Two. Right? Let's talk about how Gilbert Burns should be nominated for sainthood for a night. Because he knew 100% he could have got Jorge out of there and he took his foot off the gas pedal. Because Jorge was fucking doing the stanky leg on ice skates. You know what I mean? And Gilbert saw it, and instead Gilbert just tied him up for that third round. Because that third round, if he wanted to, he could have knocked him silly. He's like, nah, nigga, I know this is your last fight. Your baby girl here. I'm just going to give you a hug real fast, and then we'll just ride it out. Shout out for the humanitarian known as Gilbert Burns.
I ain't gonna lie.
I noticed that too, Jace. It is what it is.
Yeah, I think we all agree. Like in the third round, there was like a couple combinations he landed on him in a row, and I was like, oh, he's about to get him out of here. And then he shot, and I was like, oh, Gilbert, aren't you sweet?
Which is great. I was going to say, which is great because how many times have we seen lately on people's retirement fight of just
brutalizing,
brutal KO? So it was refreshing that they didn't have to pick your man's up with a fucking squeegee.
Yeah, in his hometown too. Yeah. Well, for me, it was sad I was watching George, and I'm like, this is not the George that I'm usually used to seeing from back in the day, and I know he's old as fuck. And he took it to just get out of there. And I was like looking at his skill set. I'm like, he did okay for being an old guy. And I'm glad he didn't get knocked out like the old dudes usually get knocked out on their way out. But I'm glad that he's out. And shout out to Gilbert Burns. I wish you kind of would have. I was mixed up. We all picked Gilbert, right? Yeah. For all of us. But there was a smidget of me that I wanted Masvidal to win just for all the haters hating on him like that. But yeah, it is what it is.
So let me ask. Hey, Paul Sky CJ, let me ask y'all this real fast. When we reflect and think about Jorge Masvidal, like, what will you remember?
The name.
Go ahead, guys.
Yeah, like Sky said, like, there's not many fighters throughout the course of history that had their golden hour towards the end of their career. Like, we're going to look back on Jorge as being the first big-time late career resurgence because he was kind of just journeyman, win one, lost one, split decision, and then in like the 17th year of his 20-year career, he went to the stratosphere. So now anytime someone has a late career resurgence, we're all going to say, "Oh, he did a Jorge Masvidal." I think that's what he's going to be remembered for.
I like that.
If I
Shout
could
out
say
to
like
Randy Couture.
this one word, I would just say
Yeah,
like
I can rebuttal that, but let's go, CJ.
I'm gonna just say scrapper. He's a scrapper, you know. He's a scrappy. Get down there, fights hard. Did he win them all? No, you know. But did he get in there and fight hard? Yeah, you know, entertaining. Yes, you know, decent enough a career. You know, he wasn't the best fighter of all time, but he'll give you a show, so I can dig it. Peace out, game, Brad.
The thing about I was going to say about Randy Couture, Jace, is that he was a champion from day one, you know, and like he did come back when he was really old and beat Tim Sylvia, but
45, I think.
yeah, it was his testosterone was definitely lower, but I mean, Jorge was like, I follow. He was just like not a fighter that I was like excited to see on the regular until he had that breakout year. The last the thing I remember Jorge for was he fought Stephen Thompson on the undercard of GSP's return. I was like, oh, that's that guy. And then after that, 2019, I'm like, oh, this is the needle mover. This is the pay-per-view draw.
Yeah. And honestly, like, you know,
It all
like
depends.
you know, like I said before, if he doesn't fight Nate Diaz, he's just the guy with the really cool knockout. Just like Joaquin Buckley. Joaquin Buckley had that amazing, spectacular, you know, one of the best knockouts we've ever seen. Shout out Joe Anik, you know, but John Anik, sorry. But like, if he doesn't fight,
Mark Hughes.
If he doesn't if Nate Diaz doesn't call him out and they don't do the BMF right after that, it's just an awesome knockout. He goes back to losing. The Nate Diaz rub it was absolutely monumental in his career. Because after that, he got the title shot, right? And looked terrible against Kobe. I mean, he hasn't looked good. But him being able to fight Masvidal and them do like the whole little world tour for them, like that is what really pushed him to be in that person. Because there have been spectacular knockouts, but then, you know, if you get to go with any Diaz, Connor, somebody like that, oh, it's a wrap. Like you're gonna make major money. You know, so good for him. I thought it was an amazing opportunity for him to be able to, you know, retire in his hometown. But enough with the bullshit, because I could honestly care less about everything else that happened. I'm not gonna lie. Let's talk about the main event: Alex Pereira versus Israel Adesanya. You look stressed. You look stressed down there. Get yourself together. Take a drink, young man.
How do we feel?
How'd y'all feel about the fight? I'm gonna let somebody else start first, because you know I can get long winded.
What you got, CJ?
What you got, Paul?
I mean, it became real for me when that one 2002 rock song, that one trap song came on. Whatever Izzy's walkout song was, I was like, oh, that's different.
Headstrong, I'll take you on. Yeah,
exactly. Yeah, I remember listening to that song when I was like in second grade.
Right.
But he came out.
With that porn stash, really?
Hey, you got an old guy here. You got an old guy right there. So.
Do the math. But I don't know if you guys noticed this, but I'm all about reading energies and reading body language and looking right dead into the fighter's eyes. When Izzy came out and the camera was on him as he was walking out into the arena, I was like, there's something different. There's a different energy here.
Yeah.
Like, this isn't like a shtick. This isn't WWE. This is like, he is laser focused.
Yeah.
And then that focus carried on into the first round, where the story of the first fight was Izzy was going back the whole time. He was letting Pereira control the octagon. And then in the second fight, it was the exact opposite. He was pushing Pereira forward. And then in the second round, I analyzed this fight to death, and I replayed so many different scenarios and thought like, oh, this is the way it's going to happen. This is the way it's going to happen. But the way it actually played out completely surprised me, and I never would have thought of that. He lured the knockout artist in, which is probably the most dangerous path to victory, and then he countered through the 2 rights, and that was all she wrote. It was almost as if Izzy was like, it was like a stage performance. It was an acting performance because he the way he lured him in, it was almost like playing possum is the word that's getting thrown around, and people either agree with it or they completely disagree with it.
Listen, Derek Lewis would be proud.
Who would be proud?
Derek Lewis.
Oh, okay, yeah, Derek Lewis. But that's the way I saw it. I think that there was just a different energy in the air as soon as you walked out, and that's how it played out.
What you think, Jace?
Were
you at the bar when you was watching?
I was at the bar. I like going to bars. So the first thing I noticed at the bar, so I go to
bars too.
I'm different because I only drink when I'm thirsty. But it was like, so I was surprised when I went to the bar because there weren't nearly as many people who were there. And by bar, I'm talking about B-dubs because where I'm at, they show it for free. Shout out to free pay-per-views, illegal. But there weren't nearly as many people there as it was for the John Jones fight, right?
Wow.
Yes.
Okay.
And I'm like, really? Because John Jones, they will talk about they never moved the needle. Anyway, let's talk about the fight. Paul, 100% agree with you. Yes, Izzy was laser focused. Even though the whole like dog collar thing was a little cheesy, a little gimmicky. But let's be honest. Like I think MMA fans need to be honest. We like cheese. We like the rub, right? Like Jorge's whole spiel was rub. You know what I mean? Hey, I'm Jorge. I'm gonna dress up as Scarface.
Yeah.
Anyways, like the whole playing possum thing to me is fucking total and utter bullshit.
Okay.
Your boy reached back and swung for the fence, and congratulations. The bomb hit, right? But okay, so as you were shaking your head, Sky, think about this. Let's go forward in time 30 seconds before that, right? Where fucking Pieta hit him with that leg kick, and I was like, wait a second, I've saw this script before. I've seen this film somewhere before, right? Because that's exactly what happened. And I was like, oh shit, as soon as he hit him, Izzy, he was like, oh shit, whop, whop. You know what I mean? I'm like, I'm standing up at this point. I'm screaming,
Hold on. Why were you doing that?
Because I've read that book before. I just saw it last November. I read that book before where he hit him with a leg kick. That leg kick fucked Izzy's world up.
Who did you pick in that?
In the first fight,
In
the first fight, I picked Pereira.
I've been cutting it out.
In the first fight, I picked Pereira. This fight, I pick Pereira. I did say, and this is not me doing the moonwalker. I did say I did want Izzy to win.
No, you did. You did.
But I thought Pereira was going to win. And even this fight, I thought Pereira was going to win. At this point, I'm jumping up and down, and I know it's about to happen. And again, shout out to Izzy for throwing the Hail Mary, and they caught it. But for him being like, oh, like I was playing possum, I meant to do this. I don't buy it an inch, not even a little bit. But it is what it was. I will say this overall. I loved Izzy's post-fight speech. You could see the joy. No, not joy. That's not a good enough word. You could see the elation in his eyes and his face of like, oh my God, I finally beat my boogeyman.
Yep.
Oh yeah.
That's what I gotta say.
So Jace, I 1,000% agree with you too. I literally just got finished watching the fight. So Izzy was doing great the whole time. So the first round could go either way, the way you see things. I feel like Izzy slightly, maybe a little bit more working all of the body, head, body, leg kicks. Alex just had leg kicks and a couple body punches here and there. The second round, Izzy was, taking precedence in the fight everywhere. Then Pereira started coming on with those leg kicks. And I was like, oh, fuck, here we go again. Just how you said from the last fight. I was like, here we go again. I was like, get off the cage, grapple him, grab him, something. Do something, because I seen exactly what you've seen. But there's a punch that nobody's talking about. You said there was a Hail Mary punch. There was a small left jab in there that touched
I'm about to
Alex.
play it.
Yeah, that touched Alex and made him get off his line. And then that's when the right hand came and dropped him. But if you notice earlier in the fight, Izzy was setting that right hand up all through the fight. All through the fight. I watched it again. I was like, it's coming. That's what he's setting that shit up. It's coming. He's setting it
Pause.
up. Here it comes. And no, fast forward, because that motherfucker came and it banged. Fast fucking forward, honey. Yeah, but I agree with you. I don't think he was playing possum. It just happened how it happened. And that little jab put his head back, and then the right hand came over. Lights out, baby. Go to sleep. I want to talk about. I want you to talk for a little bit, Sky, about the fight, but I want to talk about something about his kids. And I know it was a kind of fucked up situation, but I want to talk as a parent a little bit. But go ahead, Sky.
Okay.
Hey,
So
what did you think
first-
about the possum? Are you gonna include that in your breakdown? I want to know what you think about the playing possum. Just throwing it out there.
Who, me?
Yeah, did you think because CJ and Jace think it's
Th-
BS?
It's
I
not
think
BS.
there's some
It's
truth
not
to
BS.
it. But what do you think?
Yeah, that's what I'm about to get into. First of all, yeah, take a deep breath, Jace. First of all, you guys need to realize who the fuck you're talking about. Okay, you guys are talking about Israel Adesanya, who is coached by Eugene Behrman in City Kickboxing. I am an infamous Alexander Volkanovski hater. I'm a hater, but I cannot hate on their skill set. And I've been saying from the beginning that City Kickboxing would go back and make the proper adjustments. You don't think that they didn't plan for him being up against the cage. You think they're just so fucking oblivious that they didn't watch that tape and understand what happened, what got Izzy in that position, and what would happen if he was in that position. Y'all are just like talking like, oh, like he just, y'all know damn well that they were planning to be in bad positions. That's what City Kickboxing does. And they make extremely good adjustments on the fly, and their game plans is what has made a lot of their fighters absolutely amazing. I'm going to play a video that somebody made on Instagram, and Izzy posted it on his story, right? Because it breaks down what happens. And in this video, so you guys can check it out, right? So it's going to show him playing possum in the defensive shell, right? Boom, the knee comes through
To the body.
Right? He's loading up the left hook. It's okay. You're able to watch it back. Izzy touches. That's the hook that you were talking about to stop him because the left hook was coming. Yes. And he hits him. That's the hook that he hit him with. But the one thing that you missed that happened in the breakdown, I'm going to pause it real quick. If you guys go back and you watch breakdown with Saif Saud, this is the exact same position at the end of the first round when Izzy throws the hook and blocks the fucking hook so he can't see the right coming. This is exactly what Saif Saud talked about. If you go back and you watch Izzy's video, Izzy, when he's rewatching this moment, I made a whole post on it. Izzy goes, I know what I have to do next time. He blocks him, you're about to see it right now, and connects with the right. This was planned, y'all. Like, this isn't just like, he doesn't, like, I don't want to mess up his quote, but boom, he distracted, blocked him, and got him out of there. So I know that y'all want it to be I know it was so brutal. The last hammer fist was absolutely disgusting.
Hold on, Sky.
Is it worth?
I wanted two more to follow. I was like, Red, let him get two more in. Give him two more.
I wanted
give
super
him two
necessary.
More.
I wanted
give him two more.
No, the worst hammer fist ever was Hendo on Bisping.
Let's fucking
UFC
go,
100. UFC 100.
Let's go.
He was.
He took flight.
My friend was watching it, compared this to Ngannou versus Stipe too. He knockout because they were both exchanging, and then all of a sudden, whoosh, dead.
Dead.
But I'm glad you agree with the playing possum sentiment, and we'll call it even.
No, because like I truly believe that they're extremely smart, and like I said, just going back and watching Safe Sahud break that sequence down in the last fight, and then Izzy, when he was watching that exact same exchange, break it down the exact same way. That's why I had posted on my video, and for it to happen exactly in this video, for him to block and distract him from seeing the right coming and firing it down, and that's what sat him down. Come on, y'all. Like, y'all really think that City Kickboxing didn't plan to be in that position? The same position that took him out last time.
So what you're telling me is that City Kickboxing planned for him to get hurt again,
No.
get rocked,
No.
because this is what happened.
No.
Okay, so wait.
To be in a bad position. They always plan to be in a bad position. That's why they have their spiders.
Well, everyone plans on bad position. I mean, how many people go against the Dagestanis and say, okay, when that Dagestanis are doing this to you, this is what we rehearse and try over and over and over again. I just want to ask you this one question, Scott. Mm-hmm. And before Izzy got the knockout, were you nervous?
Yeah, of course I was nervous. Okay. Because they were back in that position. So you were acting like they didn't know that there was a possibility that they could be in a bad position and have something for that.
We're talking about...
Because if you go back and you look at the other position, he's in a completely different shell, right? He's in this. He's not like he was before, where his hands was kind of down and he was moving his head. You guys got to see that there was a different game plan going into this. I wouldn't be surprised if City Kickboxing and Izzy come out with a video where they're showing them working different angles like this, being put in a bad position.
Again, it's a fight.
Also, another thing, before he shelled up into the playing possum position, as he was en route to his back against the fence, he took 2 leg kicks from Pereira. And that's kind of what made us all nervous, right? CJ said it, oh, here we go again. But what I think Izzy really hammed those leg kicks up. Like, he absorbed them, and he kind of really, you know, instead of like checking them and like, this didn't hurt me, he really like, oh, you got me. Oh, you got me. I'm on the fence. No, you don't got me. That's kind of what the way I saw it.
So go ahead, Jay.
I was just gonna say. So what you're saying is, and I don't want to take this out of context, is that Izzy should be getting the Academy Award.
Yes, sure. I said it was an acting performance in my breakdown earlier. I was like, he really hammed it up. You know, I mean, he wears the collar, he wears the skirt.
You guys not seen Derek Lewis do it?
That's from the Polynesian culture.
My bad.
No, it's okay. We be wrong on this podcast all the time.
Lewis do it all the time. You see Derek Lewis do it all the time. Derek gets hurt. He acts like he's, oh shit. Boom. That's how he won the fight against Volkov. He was losing that fight the whole time.
I never noticed that, but I believe it.
Yeah, Derek does that all the time. He plays possum. That's like his main thing. He acts like he's like, oh man, he goes up against the cage and bow. That's how he got Volkov out of there with 30 seconds left in that third round when he was getting beat up the whole fight.
I will say as well real fast that just in general, I thought the second round of that fight was the best round of the card, because there were like, all of a sudden they went from like, okay, we're just here at a 5, we're here at a 5. And then in the second round, just everybody in the second round like brought it up to a 9. Like they both start really, really going after each other. I really encourage everyone to go back and not just watch the knockout the entire second round. Yeah. But again, to say that Izzy put on this theatrical performance for me is just I can't. I don't believe it. I don't believe it in my hardest of hearts. There's no way. You know what I mean? The fear that you had 30 seconds prior to that, because you saw that panic and look and here we go again on his face. But, you know, hey, fair play to Izzy. I'm not mad about it. So let me ask y'all this real fast. Do you want to see it again?
No, before we even get to that, where the fuck are the haters at? No, we gonna do this because all week long it was 4-0, 4-0. What adjustments can Izzy make? He's already lost 3 times. Blah 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 blah. Y'all have been hating on this man all week long. He goes inside there, puts the man to sleep. The man was knocked out, snoring, and where are y'all at with that same energy? All I keep hearing is, oh, well, now it's 3-1. Now it's 3-1. Man, listen, this is exactly on this podcast last week. I said, what a beautiful story it would be for a redeemer story. For this man to have been fought somebody 3 times in those fights, get knocked out once. The last one was a TKO and that was questionable. But to get knocked out twice by this person and still have to come back and fight him, most people wouldn't do it. Izzy could have ducked him and made him fight Marvin or Robert or somebody else who was a who was better with wrestling in order to get him out of there. But no, he went up there. And not only that, he was fighting this man in front of the whole fucking world. These highlights last forever. If he went inside there and got knocked out, that was going to be attached to him for the rest of his life. People replaying him getting knocked out 3 times by the same man. And he still showed up and got it done. Like, this was a beautiful redeemer story that happened with Izzy. Most of y'all quit when anything gets tough.
Yes,
like, oh,
anything,
your girlfriend pisses you off, now you cheating on her. Oh, your boss pissed you off, now you quit. Like, y'all quit on everything. Oh, you know, I seen the burger, so I quit doing keto. Like we all quit on a whole bunch of this man. I'm just saying, like, this
Why
man,
you coming at me and Jace for?
That's all of us. That's all of us. I don't know about you, T-Ball Paul, but that's me too.
Nah,
like,
hey, T-Ball Paul, look at him. T-Ball Paul skinny as hell.
He might got good genetics like that. He might have good
And he
genetics
probably
like
eat
that.
worse than all of us. Bro was at Del Taco last night.
Whoa, wait a second. What you got in the back there, T-Ball?
For some
going
reason,
on in the back?
Every time I chat with Casual on TikTok, I always happen to be eating, so he thinks something.
What's going on with the ponytail? Wait a second now.
Oh yeah, T-Ball Paul got that silky.
Wait a second. Yeah, you definitely from the OC.
But
what I was saying,
just real quick, just to tailor off the end of my rant, is that put some respect on this man's name.
That's it.
On his mental fortitude, on his ability to put himself in a position to where for the rest of his life, y'all were going to clown him, y'all were going to disrespect him, and y'all were going to treat him like he wasn't a 5-time defending champion. Put some respect on his name, because he went out there and had he got slept, y'all would have been dragging him for every single year of his life. And he went out there, he got it done, and he did something that I'm telling you, like 90% of the fan base is just not going to do. Even former champions is just not going to do. Put themselves in that position when a person has clearly had your number and you're still going after it and getting it done. That's all I have to say.
So like I said last week, Izzy's the type of guy that has supreme confidence in himself. And it shows because he knows himself. You know what I'm saying? People don't like him because of the shit that he do, not because of the skills that he has in the ring. Facts. Maybe his fights ain't all high fashion and beautiful like it was last night, but he does put on a show. Like we were talking about why people go to see his fights, it's because you either hate him or love him, but it's all kind of for no reason though. You hate him for no reason. He put on a show. Respect that, man. I have people in my fucking TikToks all day calling them all kind of names, all kind of this, all kind of other things that I ain't gonna say on here. Is it because you say all these things and he's still knocking out the Terminator, right? Y'all mad because he painted his nails. You mad because he wore a collar. Now what? Now what? Now what?
Now what?
Now what? Now what is I want to see it again. I don't like Izzy. So as much as I like Izzy's post-fight speech, I hated his post-fight press conference. I was saying like, no, he's not gonna fight him again. And you know what I mean, this chapter is closed. Like, nah, nigga, you got one, cool. You got one finally. You know what I'm saying? But at the end of the day, for me, I want to see him run it back. Run it back. I want to see them run it back because there's no one else that I'm excited to fight Izzy more than Pereira. I don't think Cumshot deserves it. We've already read the Roberts, the Tories, and everyone else of the world. Bo ain't there yet. The most exciting fight to make and the biggest fight to make in the middleweight division is 3.
So what I say, I kind of agree with you're saying, but I don't want to see that. Now, Alex, you got fast track, right? Which is perfectly fine. You took the belt, which is perfectly fine. Now let's see if you can fight these other guys that are in the top 5. We got Vittori, we got Costa, we got Rob, we got Jarrett. And if you go, you beat 2 of those dudes, you probably have another chance, which is fine. Which is fine.
Go fight.
It's
like
okay.
everybody else. Go fight.
What you think, Paul?
I mean, another thing is when Izzy won last night, I think a sigh of relief went over the UFC because they want Izzy as their champion. He is the champion that you could market around and build the company around. And the writing was on the wall. When Dana got asked, what do you think about a third Pereira fight? He immediately said, I think Pereira needs to move up to 205. So what that tells me is that the UFC has no interest even though in a meritocracy, Pereira deserves a third fight. He deserves his rubber match, sure. But I think that the UFC was like, okay, the universe has been brought back to normal again. Izzy's our champion again. We had this experiment go wrong in November. Now we're back on track. Let's move forward and do big business.
Paul, but I'm asking you a direct question. Who do you want to see Izzy fight next if you had your crystal ball or if you could make the match?
I want to see him fight Dricus du Plessis.
Get his ass. Hey, I was gonna say that. Hey, Paul, I was gonna say that shit too, but it sounds so whack. It sounds so whack. But I know because he's the only one that's right there.
Bro, nobody wants to see that fight. Nobody wants to see that fight.
We want to see it. Get this ass whooping. Come on.
It could be a good. I think DDP. He's coming on strong. There's
Diamond
that
Dallas
whole
Page,
right? There's the whole Africa thing that maybe the UFC could lean into as a marketing tactic. As far as DDP presenting a challenge to Adesanya, I think they should focus less on that because he doesn't pose much of a threat, but they should really focus on the South Africa versus Nigeria thing. And I don't know. That's the way I see it. And it's just like, I don't think that Khamzat has proven his mettle at middleweight yet.
Who?
That cum shot.
Oh, okay.
Don't let him do that to you, Paul.
Don't give in to him.
I didn't know who he was talking about.
The one narrative that I think has been completely off base in the MMA community is how highly people regard Khamzat at middleweight. He's an excellent welterweight, but I think the jury is still out on him as a middleweight, and it's blasphemous to just throw him as the title contender at 185 when really he beat one guy in Fight Island. I don't remember who it is, and then he dead
Gerald Machad.
But like I said, Gerald Mearshart is the gatekeeper to the top 20. He's not the gatekeeper.
Full circle, baby. Full circle. Bring it full circle.
But yeah, that's all I have to say about. I think Izzy fights DDP next. He's really kind of the only guy that he hasn't fought because he's cleaned out the division.
But that's who you want him to fight next. Like if you were able to make the match, you want him to fight DDP next. Like that would be your dream fight next for Izzy.
I mean, who else is there at middleweight?
That's it. He already ran.
Pereira is
too far down. Pereira. I think we need to spread the ball around. The 20s has been trilogies. Let's stop milking these cows for all they're worth and like build up other stars and build up more big fights because I think there's a story you can make a story out of just about anything and let's spread the ball around to other contenders.
Yeah. I 100% agree with that. And the reason why I say no to Alex is the same thing that T-Ball Paul said, same thing that CJ saying, which is you need to fight somebody. You got fast track, you got up here, you got it done, but now you need to fight. The same way that Robert Whittaker, he won the interim against Yoel. He got injured, came back, had to fight Yoel again, won. And then next thing you know, it was Izzy's reign. He never got a chance or opportunity. They wasn't like, oh, let's run it back immediately after Izzy knocked him out. It's like Alex has fought nobody. Aside from Sean Strickland, he has fought nobody in the top 15. Fight somebody.
Strickland versus Izzy would be a good one, actually.
Yeah,
Hey, run it. Hey, run both of them. The
reason why I'm calling for DDP is, just like Paul said, right? That Izzy is a big marketing machine, right? They can put a lot of money behind him because people hate him, they love him. It's a whole bunch going there. You mix that with the storyline of him making those comments about Kamaru and Izzy and Francis, right? And then you got a storyline going. Now, is it going to be competitive? No, but what is a better look than your number one person right now, because Connor's not here, your number one person beating the dog shit out of somebody. Because the whole thing about Izzy is that, oh, he's boring, he's this, he that. So now you knock out Alex and you beat the dog shit out of DDP? Oh, wait a minute.
All
The steam
things
is coming.
change.
Like, because the
All things
casual
change.
viewers they don't know. They don't know who the hell. All they know is that, hey, this is the fight that's on. They see him. Oh, they're like, oh, he's that guy. Until
DDP is just
somebody
a
else.
buff blonde dude.
Yeah, and he has terrible cardio. His striking is terrible. Izzy finishes him within the first 3 rounds. But that's a good
definitely.
look for
I
your
don't
number
know.
one person.
I don't know if Izzy does. I mean, I thought
Oh
the
my
same.
God.
No. Hear me out before you throw me out with the bathwater. Because I thought the same with Izzy about fucking Jared Cannonier.
I
We
didn't.
all thought to.
Nope.
I thought the same. I said I thought the same about Jared Cannonier, that Izzy would get him out of there. I think sometime Izzy, and this is I think a real criticism, fights down to his opponents. I think that's what he does sometimes. You know, and again, I'm not saying, and let me say this, and I'm done. I'm not saying that what should happen or who deserves what. I'm saying if I was in the matchmaker room and had the chance for Izzy to fight anybody next, it's going to be Pereira, because that is I'm most intrigued about. Everyone else that you've talked about, granted, anything can happen in a fight. I feel pretty safe being like, this is going to happen, this is going to happen, this is going to happen. He fights Pereira again. I don't know what's going to happen. You know, I still would probably take Pereira.
I get what you're saying, though. Yeah. If you had your Jace-off magic wand, you'd be like, boom, run it back. Shit, run it back 5 times in a row if they need to. I get because everybody else at 85 is kind of like, what the fuck? What's the purpose of it? Yeah. I see what you're saying. If you had your magical wishes.
Izzy, to his credit, has pretty much cleared out the top half of the division, like the top 5 of the division. Who has he not ran through? You know, choo all aboard. Jenna Jameson just trained everybody numerous times. Bo is not ready. I don't believe. Cumshot, again, I think Cumshot is dominant at 170, but when you got guys the same size, is he going to be able to ragdoll them? I don't know, because I haven't seen it. That's all I'm saying. What was you about to say, Paul?
I say, I agree with you, and like I said, if this was Bellator, Pereira and Izzy, since they're based on a strict merit system, would fight for the 3rd time. But I really think it's in the best interest of the UFC to let that iconic moment we saw last night just live a little bit. And if they match him up against Pereira again, it's going to take away from that, viral clip that they got, and they need to ride that. Like Izzy, Izzy was on this trajectory from the Marvin Vettori fight. It was like this, and now he's back up here. They gotta keep him there and take him higher, and that clip fresh in everyone's mind. They gotta let that ride for a little bit.
So actually, I'm sorry, I got one more thing. I think honestly, if you really break it down, I think we're being, or not me, because obviously I'm right. Y'all are being disrespectful toward Pereira, right? Because he's been, let me finish. He's been undefeated in the UFC, right? Same trajectory as Izzy, right? In the sense of undefeated. What is he, 4-0 in the UFC?
4-1.
No. He was 4-0. So he had 3 straight fights, knocked out the champ, you know what I mean? Then lost his first fight. Yes, he did TKO. He was saved from the knockout that was impending. Right? So you're talking about for someone who was 4-1, and it's like, oh, now he needs to do something else. Now he needs to try other people. When again, he should have.
That's what you're doing to Bilal. Stop it.
Izzy didn't have to fight nobody else. Izzy didn't have to fight nobody else.
Because 185 is trash.
Thank you. You made my point.
But at the end of the day, he still hasn't fought the elite of that division. He should fight Robert Whittaker. You get past Robert, absolutely. Run it back with Izzy. Go fight somebody.
185 is trash. That's the quote that I got from you.
Sean Strickland isn't that guy. Derek Brunson isn't that guy. Go fight somebody.
There's only one guy. There's only one guy in 185.
At the very least, fight Marvin. At the very least, fight Paulo Costa. But please fight Robert.
That'd be a great fight. Costa versus Pereira?
Yes.
That's what I'm saying. They're acting like that would just be a wash.
Does Costa still fight?
Yes. He's coming. He's signing a contract.
Costa's
He's
never
just
in a
not-
boring fight. The
Ever.
only boring fight was when he didn't show up against Izzy, and that
That
was
wasn't even boring.
he didn't make it exciting. That's what I'm saying. Izzy made that one exciting. That was a one-man show, but usually Costa is always in it. I love watching the dude fight.
Facts.
So that would be.
Facts.
I mean,
Yeah, Alex needs to fight somebody. You acting like he ran through the division and got up there. Come on now. Is it the most interesting? Like, sure, it would be cool to see them fight again. But at the end of the day, he does need to fight somebody. And I think that like right now, if they run Dricus versus Israel, and Israel goes out there and picks him off, so you got 2 back-to-back fights. And then one thing I want to say when you're talking about how Izzy fights down to his opponents, while I do agree with that, we see when Izzy feels something about that opponent, i.e. Paul Acosta, he comes out
gets him
different.
out of there.
He's
So
not that same.
what happened with the
little-
first Pereira fight? Then he didn't feel something about that.
Yeah, and he
Okay,
was winning
cool.
the fight.
Cool.
He was winning the fight, but
Until
that
he
was
wasn't.
but he hadn't been knocked the fuck out. See, this is
Pereira's
different.
good. Pereira's
Yeah.
the best kickboxer in the world. One of them, it's like.
Yeah, but
I
I
guess
did
Izzy
want to
didn't-
give CJ an opportunity because he said that he wanted to talk about the incident that happened afterwards, where Israel found Alex Pereira's kid and pointed at him and hit him with the dead man, the same move that he did to him.
So like a lot of.
Dad,
So my thing is that don't do things that you don't want shit to come back to you. So I've been rapping. I have a lot of young people in my whatever TikTok community and shit, right? So they were like, that was uncalled for. That was classless, which I would say it's not high on my level of things to do. But in life, you guys got to understand when you do some shit to somebody, be prepared for that same energy to fucking come back. And it don't even have to pertain to being a fighter. Y'all be on this thing talking shit, running your mouth, doing all this stuff. One day you might have to see that person you wolfing at. So have that same energy, right? So the little boy, he was 5 years old. He fell in the ring when Izzy got knocked out by Pereira or whatever. Come around this time, Izzy found that kid. He did the same thing and he slept your dad. Was it the best thing to do? Probably not. But he matched the energy. It is what it is. Y'all got to mind y'all elders and you got to mind the adults. You shouldn't even be in the ring in the first place as a child.
Go ahead.
What
Jace.
you got to say, Jace?
it's tough.
Hold on. Let me say something first. I teach my son, because I don't know if y'all have kids. I teach my son to respect his elders in any situation that you're in. You do not step into an adult's area speaking to adults or doing things around adults when you're not even supposed to be there. You know what I'm saying? So, T-ball pause gone. So when that energy comes back, it is what it is. Go ahead, Jace.
I'll keep this short and sweet. We can't be talking about energy coming back when we're talking about a 4 and 5 year old. It's just, you just can't do it.
Stop it.
Right?
Stop.
Because as we know, even though I don't have kids, but I've been around younger kids, for example, and let's say a kid, that was, a young child would be like, oh man, like she's fat at the grocery store. You know what I mean? Like, should they be doing it? No. But like, am I going to turn around and a 3-year-old call me fat, slap the shit out of a 3-year-old?
See, that's
He
not
didn't
what
slap
happened.
nobody.
That's not what happened. That's not what happened.
Wait a second.
That's not what happened.
Let me finish.
Hold on. So you're talking to, you said turn around and slap somebody. No, first of all, teach your children to watch their mouths and watch their actions. That's the first thing.
Okay. Even that.
So because, hold on. Wait. Because lessons will come back to you. I'm not saying it's the right thing to do because you step in these streets running your mouth and doing the wrong things. There might be motherfuckers out here who don't take shit the same way you take things. Right? He took the shit the wrong way.
No, everything you're saying is 100% true. I concur with your synopsis, sir. What I'm saying is the enormous variable in the equation. We're not talking about a teenager. We're not talking about a pre-adolescence. We're talking about a child, someone who I'm a 4 or 5 year old. I'm holding your hand to cross the street, right? We're talking about a child. You know what I mean? So for me, super disrespectful super unnecessary going after a child. Now, if it was a 13, 14-year-old where
Well,
you should have some sense.
he's around that age now though. So he's a little bit older than my son now. So the thing is, I'm not. Yes, you are right too, right? So he probably shouldn't have went and seek them out, right? But my lesson is, don't want that smoke. Don't do shit if you don't expect the smoke to come back towards you. Go ahead,
And
Sky.
I'm 100% with CJ on this. Did he have to do it? No, but he did. Because you want to know why? Y'all used that clip when y'all was promoting this fucking fight. Y'all used that clip in the first one. Y'all kept running that clip. The UFC, y'all kept that shit. Y'all thought it was okay to play around and do that. The same video when the son does this whole little thing with the dad. Y'all kept playing that on ESPN MMA. Y'all kept showing the kid. Y'all kept showing them in the embedded. Y'all kept showing them in, what's that thing called? Thrill and Agony. So he was a part of the storyline. Him standing over me laughing and playing dead. So now when I win and your dad sleep and I come over to you and I do it, he didn't go in that kid's face. He didn't disrespect him. He didn't go up to his kid and say, hey, fuck you for. He didn't say nothing to him. But he gave him that same energy. He fell on the ground, kept it pushing. There ain't nothing wrong with that. People taunting. This is the same stupid shit where like football players are getting in trouble for taunting. Come on now. Grow up. That's that same little kid. Y'all were doing that same shit. And as a parent, like CJ was saying, Alex, and like Izzy said, you could have taught your kid. You could have said, hey, that's not okay. Don't do that.
How do we know he didn't?
He did not. Because they were laughing
apparently
about
he
it.
did.
Go back and watch Embedded.
Hey,
Go back and watch Countdown. They were laughing about that.
T-Ball Paul, I know you're trying to get in here. Go ahead and preach to us.
Well, my whole thing is like it's tough with kids because like I've had experiences before where like this kid maybe he was like 7, 8, or 9 somewhere around there, but what he said just like stung me. Something I was insecure about just hit me right where it hurt. And you know this kid's 20 years old now and he's still in my orbit and I haven't liked him till this day. I'm not like calling him out on shit, but it's just like if it stings, it stings. And
go ahead, Paul.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. Go ahead. My thing, it may not be today, it may not be tomorrow, it may not be a month, but the shit comes all the way around. Life fucking circles back around. That's the only thing I'm saying. Should have Izzy probably did it? Maybe not. But I'm just want to teach people out here. Watch who you talk to. Watch how you talk to people because the shit do come around. And that's what I teach my son. Mind your P's and Q's because shit can get hot. Some people don't take shit the same way. You can say, me and you can talk shit to each other, Jason, it's fine. You talk shit to another motherfucker, he'll pop you. You know what I'm saying? People take shit differently.
I hope so. Paul, what were you going to finish saying?
Well, I was just saying it's just like if something is said that really hurts your feelings, it's like what's the appropriate age cutoff to hurt someone's feelings really bad that sticks with you for years? You know, it's like, oh, under 5, okay, let me just blow it off my shoulders. But they were 6, so now I can feel a type of way about it now. So it's just like it's a gray area, and that's kind of what I see with the Izzy thing. You know, what this kid did, I don't know how old he was, maybe 7, 8, 9, somewhere around there, you know, really hit Izzy where it hurts. It stung him so much that last night the universe came back around, like CJ said. So that's the way I see it.
Fair.
Go ahead, Sky.
Yeah. You know, I think like I said, it is what it is. It is what it is. If the dad was mad about it, then he could have said something to Izzy in the back. If the dad didn't like that the son did what he did, he could have told him something. But like I said, go back and watch Countdown. Go back and watch the embeddeds. Go back and watch when they were showing his sons and they were promoting all of that. They were laughing about it. It's a part of the whole troll. So now that he did that, I'm sure if Alex had an issue with it, he would have said something to Izzy because they were in the back dapping it up. It is what it is. One thing you won't see Max Holloway's son doing no stupid, goofy shit like that.
Watch your kids.
These are your kids. Get your kids up out of here. Watch
Yeah,
your
watch your
kids. You know what I
kids.
mean? Like ain't no other kid did this. So why is it that your kid does it? And now that I make a gesture back to him, it's not like he went and said "suck it," something that's inappropriate like that.
I mean,
Like, no,
but essentially that's kind of the same like energy.
no. He said, "Oh, you remember this? Boom,
Boom.
dead."
I was asleep. Now
That's
he's asleep.
literally the same type of energy. It's
Yeah, so
literally
Imagine if all 7 of Sam Alvey's kids did that after a fight.
smiling.
Hey, yo, T-Ball,
Smiling.
bro. You know we be talking to Sam Alvey on TikTok, bro.
Smiling.
He's cool.
Yeah, he's super cool.
He's supporting the content creators for sure.
For sure.
Yeah,
Cool.
for sure. I mean, I
Yo,
thought that it was.
go ahead.
Go ahead.
Go ahead, Sky. I'm sorry. No, I want to say something. Whenever we have T-Ball Paul on here again, I want to play a game because
Okay.
T-Ball Paul is like the Rain Man of UFC for a certain amount of era. Bro, you could just say a number, and he probably knows who was on that card. But we don't have to do that now because we're running out of hell of time.
Oh, I would love that challenge.
Bro, you could do it too, Jace.
Oh yeah,
Nice.
but let's save it
Oh,
for next
that'd be
time.
fun.
Yeah.
That'd be fun, because any opportunity we get to mess with Jace, we try to take it because he's got thick skin. He's a good guy, but at the same time, like
But
he makes himself a target. He makes himself a target because he chooses to go against us. He chooses to go against us all the time, like just to spice it up, But I thought that it was, a good fight. We'll be back on Wednesday to go over the fight night. Arnold Allen versus Max Holloway. Y'all know how I feel about Max Holloway.
Don't come in here. Tell him, Scott.
Yeah, and y'all
That's
know.
not gonna be a biased podcast.
What'd you say, T?
I said that's not going to be a biased podcast.
Oh, I'm 100% biased when it comes to Max. Like everybody else, like I like Izzy, I like these other people, and they cool, and it is what it is. But Max, like, I have so much Max stuff in this room that it's ridiculous even if to pull it out. I have all of his clothes, like it's just ridiculous. So I'm gonna be extremely biased. But
that's like me with Anderson Silva. I'm always defending him.
Yeah. My Max one is right there, actually, next to Allen Iverson. But
before we get out of here, I know we're about to go. Paul, you just said Anderson Silva is your go-to goats.
Yeah, definitely.
You don't care about the Jamba Juice?
We gonna keep going.
Didn't he pop for that? Like once he was kind of over the hill.
I mean, but it's still
after the leg break. After the leg break, he popped.
Yeah,
it still happened though, right? Like he did get a package from USADA.
Right, but I mean, I think Barry Bonds is the best baseball player of all time, and that guy was sauced up too. It's like I'm not looking at like the extracurriculars. I'm looking at what I physically saw in competition. Barry Bonds, the most Jamba Juice lifetime membership ever. I think he's the best baseball player of all time, and that's kind of where I stand on the issue of performance enhancing. Because, I mean, yes, Bonds' performance was enhanced, but what I saw with my own two eyes was the best baseball player of all time. That's just the way I feel about it.
Hot take. We're gonna save this for next time, man. I'm looking forward to having you back on the pod, brother.
Sweet. We can debate it.
It's really not because Jace doesn't actually even care about the juice.
Me?
Jace does not care about the juice.
You don't think I care about horse meat? Shout out to Alistair. Listen, T-Ball, we got to have you back on because we got to do some hardcore debating on this.
Yeah.
Sure.
And just let you know, I'm a master baiter.
Okay.
And with that, LaShawn Strickland is out. And so are we. We will be back on Wednesday to go over the next fight night. We still might be debating about some other bullshit. Who knows? Paul might be here. Damien, I don't know where he's going to be, so I doubt he's going to be here.
He
just got married.
I had a blast.
Yeah, he married.
Yeah.
You better check in with his probation officer.
Yeah. Thanks for coming in. But yeah, we are out of here. Peace.